So today I want you to imagine yourself as an adult and you're looking to put $500 in some type of savings account. And in this case, I already prepared some options, and these are CDs, and you can put money into them and they will accrue interest. So your principal amount that I'm going to have you use for each of these options is $500. For Bank A, you can either do a 2-year term or a 5-year term, and each term has a different rate. So Bank A 2-year term has 1.41% interest, and for the 5-year term, it has a 3.04% interest. I'm going to go through Bank A, and then you will do Bank B, which also has a 2-year and a 5-year term. And for Bank B, the 2-year term is 1.25% interest. And for Bank, the 5-year term, is 2.16%. So we're going to look at these options and see which one would be the best option for you to put money into. So I'm going to go through Bank A, the 2-year term first. So I'm going to set up the paper with our first step. And our first step is writing our formula. So I equals P R T. Step 2 is to identify which variables in our formula already have values. So I'm going to write our variables here. And then our I is what we're looking for, so we're going to put a question mark there. Our P is what?
The
500, yeah. So 500. And our R is
the rate. So the 1.41.
yeah. And then our term, so our time
is 2 years.
Okay, so 2 years. Okay, so now we're going to plug those into our formula for step 3. So we're going to leave I there because we don't know what that is yet. 500 times 1.41 times 2. So the easiest way, the way we've been doing it, is to ignore the decimal first and then have that come into play later on. So let's go ahead and do let's do 1.41 times 2. So 2 times 1?
2.
And then 2 times 4?
8.
2 times 1 again?
2.
Okay. So now let's do 282 times the 500 over here. Or let's just leave it at 5. And then add our 2 zeros at the end. 2, 8, 2. So 5 times 2?
10.
And carry the 1. 5 times 8?
41.
Yes. 5 times 2 again.
10.
And then plus our 4.
14.
Okay. So right now we have 1,410, but we have to take into consideration our decimal places here once we change our percent into a decimal. So let's look back at our percentage and change this into a decimal. So we have 1.41. Move the decimal over 2 times, and it becomes 0.0141. Now, in decimal form, how many place values do we have?
4.
Yes. So now we look back at our 1,410, which we did leave as just 5 when it was 500. So let's add our 2 zeros there from our 500. Move our decimal place over 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. and we get I equals $14.10. So that would be our interest that would be accrued over 2 years. So when the 2 years is over with, our amount that we should get in return is our interest plus our principal. So $514.10 is what you should get back after 2 years. Okay. So let's try bank a other option of 5 years instead of 2 years together. So let's put a label on here, 2 years, bank A, and then I'll let you lead 5 years for bank A, and just go ahead with step 1. The same way we did it up there.
So P is 500 and R like that.
Yes. So next we are going to plug in those values the same way that I did here. So we're going to leave our I because that's what we're looking for.
Equals 500 times 3.404 times 5.
So let's ignore our decimal and go ahead and multiply 304 times 5. Okay, now let's go back up to our rate and convert that into a decimal.
So
Same way I did it up here.
okay. Like that.
You can't see. So where's our decimal place originally? Okay, from that point, that's when you move it over 2 times to the left.
Oh, like that.
Yeah, exactly. So then it now becomes what?
0.
So write your arrow so that you don't get confused. Yeah. Once you move it over, this is where your new decimal place should be. So there. Okay. Now we've done this part. You got 1,520. Now let's multiply that by 5 and then add those 2 zeros at the end.
Okay. 10, 25, 26.
Okay. So now, right now we have 760,000, but we have to move it over. How many place values are in our decimal?
4.
Okay. So start your decimal at the end and then move it over 4 times.
Right there.
1, 2, 3. It should be between the 0 and the 6. Okay, so then our simple interest is how much?
76.0000.
Okay, so that's $76. Okay, so then by the end of 5 years, you should have $76 plus your original principal amount.
So 576.
Yes, so that's how much money you would get back after your 5 years. Okay.